a sea surface as still as a mirror, without a single ripple to disturb the haunting tranquility of the horizon, in the deep of night where even the silver light of the moon cannot reach the vastness of the ocean. The water suddenly begins to heave and swell, as if a mountain were rising from the abyss, and a colossal black shadow emerges from the depths. This is the entity that sailors since ancient times have feared. Above all others, the Umibozu. With its smooth, rounded head and a body of a darkness deeper than the night itself, we must ask, is this merely a fragment of folklore? Or is it a true sovereign of the deep that we have yet to comprehend? Even with the pinnacle of modern science, more than 95% of the ocean floor remains an unexplored frontier, shrouded in mystery. From strange footage captured by the latest deep sea probes to the consistent, chilling testimonies of veteran navigators, today, we will peer into the darkness to uncover the true identity of the greatest enigma, lurking in the abyss, the Umibozu. For the vessels navigating the nocturnal sea, the most critical danger is not the sudden onset of a storm, or the hidden jagged edges of a reef. Rather, it is the moment when, without any warning, a gargantuan monk-like head rises from the otherwise calm and silent surface. The Umibozu, as its name suggests, is said to possess a texture as smooth and hairless as a Buddhist monk, its skin reflecting the starlight in a way that suggests something, both organic and unnervingly alien. Its eyes, the only features that break the monolithic blackness of its form, glow with an internal predatory light that seems to paralyze the very soul of anyone unfortunate enough to catch its gaze. The air around the ship grows heavy. The temperature drops as if the cold of the deep trench has been dragged up to the surface, and the rhythmic sound of the waves is replaced by a heavy, suffocating silence. In the meticulously preserved scrolls and woodblock prints of the Edo period, the Umibozu is documented with terrifying precision, appearing as a creature ranging from a few meters to dozens of meters in height. These historical records describe an entity that does not merely exist, but interacts with the human world through a specific and terrifying ritual. According to these accounts, when the Umibozu rises beside a ship, it demands a hishaku, or a wooden ladle, from the trembling crew. To the uninitiated, this might seem like a bizarre request, perhaps the whim of a thirsty spirit, but to the seasoned mariner, it is a death sentence. If a sailor overwhelmed by the sheer scale and oppressive aura of the being hands over the ladle, the Umibozu begins to pour seawater into the hull with a repetitive mechanical speed. The sound of the water crashing into the wood becomes a funeral dirge as the vessel, despite the desperate efforts of the crew, is submerged and dragged into the lightless depths within minutes. This specific detail of the ladle is not merely a ghost story. It is a profound symbol of the primal terror that the sea instilled in the hearts of our ancestors. It represents a moment where the boundary between the human world and the incomprehensible wild of the ocean collapses, and a simple tool of civilization is turned into an instrument of destruction. Some scholars of folklore suggest that the ladle signifies a bridge between two worlds, and the act of giving it away is a surrender of one's agency to the mercy of the abyss. But why does the Umibozu seek such an item? Is it driven by an ancient, unquenchable thirst, or is the act of sinking the ship a ceremonial sacrifice, a way to pull the living into its silent, cold domain? Perhaps the creature is not seeking the ladle itself, but is testing the wit and resolve of the humans it encounters. I invite you to pause and consider this. What would you do in that moment of absolute shadow? Please share your thoughts and theories in the comments, as your perspective might shed light on a mystery that has baffled scholars for centuries. In the modern era, the Umibozu has not faded into the mists of superstition. Instead, it has found a new home within the cold, precise data of our most advanced maritime technology. While we may no longer speak of monsters in the same breath as our ancestors, our latest sonar systems frequently detect massive anomalies, moving objects that defy conventional classification. These are not the predictable signatures of whales or schools of fish, nor do they possess the metallic rhythmic echoes of submarines. On one notable occasion, a high-tech oceanic research vessel operating near the Philippines trench a place where the Earth's crust plunges into the mantle recorded an object exceeding 50 meters in length. What was truly disturbing was not just its size, but its behavior. The entity was moving at speeds exceeding 80 kilometers per hour, a feat that should be biologically impossible for a creature of such mass. From the perspective of fluid dynamics and marine biology, the energy required to propel a 50-meter body through the dense medium of the ocean at such velocity is staggering. The resulting turbulence should have been detectable for miles, yet the sonar indicated a smooth, almost ghostly passage through the water. The technicians on board watched in stunned silence as the blip on the screen glided through the lightless trenches, a titan of the deep that existed outside the known laws of zoology. Furthermore, deep-sea remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, have occasionally transmitted fleeting, grainy images that stop the hearts of those in the control room. In the peripheral vision of the cameras, just beyond the reach of the artificial lights, something immense moves. It is a flash of skin that looks like weathered stone, or perhaps a membrane so smooth it appears to be made of liquid darkness. These glimpses suggest that in the crushing pressures and absolute blackness of the deep, life has taken a path of evolution that we are only just beginning to suspect. One of the most scientifically grounded theories regarding the true nature of the Umibozu involves the misidentification of known, albeit rare, giant marine organisms. For centuries, the giant squid and the oarfish were considered nothing more than the fever dreams of exhausted sailors, until modern science finally proved their existence. The giant squid, with its massive, intelligent eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, and its long, undulating tentacles, could easily be mistaken for a monstrous entity when seen partially at the surface. If the mantle of a large squid were to breach the water in the dead of night, its smooth, dark surface might very well resemble the bald head of a monk. The way it reflects the dim light, combined with the churning water that looks like a cloak of shadows, fits many of the historical descriptions of the Umibozu. However, if you speak to the veteran fishermen who have spent their entire lives on the shifting tides, they will tell you a different story. They argue that they know the difference between the scent of a squid and the presence of something truly ancient. They describe the Umibozu not as an animal driven by instinct, but as a singular conscious mass that possesses a palpable sense of will. While a school of fish or the back of a whale might create a visual illusion, it cannot account for the intense psychological pressure that accompanies a sighting, the sensation of being watched by something that understands you, even as you fail to understand it, is a recurring theme in these encounters. This suggests that we are dealing with something that transcends the simple, biological framework of predator and prey. Is it possible that the ocean, in its vastness, has birthed a form of consciousness that we are simply not equipped to recognize as life? In recent years, a new legend has emerged from the frozen reaches of the southern hemisphere, known as the ningen. This creature, described as a massive humanoid entity reaching 30 meters in length, is said to inhabit the icy waters of the Antarctic. The similarities between the ningen and the traditional Umibozu are nothing short of striking. Both are described as having smooth, pale, or dark skin, a lack of distinct facial features other than haunting eyes, and a terrifyingly human-like silhouette. While the Umibozu is often seen as a dark shadow in the temperate waters of Japan, the ningen is described as being as white as the icebergs it hides among. This could imply a shared evolutionary origin, with each population adapting its coloration to its specific environment. A classic example of camouflaged evolution in the deep. Some researchers hypothesize that these beings are the remnants of an ancient, aquatic branch of the human family tree, or perhaps a separate lineage of intelligent life that retreated to the oceans millions of years ago. Living in the high-pressure, stable environment of the deep sea, they would have had no need for the rapid technological advancement of land dwellers, instead refining their biology to become the ultimate masters of the abyss. When they rise to the surface, are they observing us as we observe them? Are we merely a curiosity to them, a fleeting species that scuttles across the thin skin of their world? Or is their appearance a sign of something more ominous, a monitoring of the surface world that they once, perhaps, called home? The idea that we share this planet with a giant, silent, and intelligent neighbor is a thought that should make us look at the waves with a renewed sense of humility. Of course, we must also consider the role of physical and atmospheric phenomena in creating the specter of the Umibozu. The ocean is a place of incredible physical volatility, where forces of nature can manifest in ways that seem supernatural. Rogue waves, for instance, are massive, spontaneous walls of water that can rise twice as high as the surrounding swell. In the darkness, a rogue wave approaching a ship can look like a solid, rising wall of black flesh, a titan standing up from the depths to crush the intruder. Similarly, the phenomenon of fata morgana, a complex form of mirage, can cause distant objects such as small rocks or even other ships to appear vertically elongated and distorted. Under the right atmospheric conditions, a low-lying reef could be transformed by the bending of light into the towering, swaying figure of a giant monk. Yet those who have stood on the deck of a ship during such an encounter insist that these explanations fall short. They speak of a change in the very atmosphere, a thickening of the air that makes it difficult to breathe, and a silence so profound that it feels as though the world has stopped spinning. This psychological weight suggests that the Umibozu may be more than a physical entity or an optical illusion. It may be a manifestation of the collective unconscious of those who brave the sea. In the face of the infinite, uncaring ocean, the human mind may project its deepest fears into a form it can understand, creating a monster to give a face to the formless terror of the deep. But even if the creature begins in the mind, the physical evidence of sunken ships and anomalous sonar readings suggests that the shadow it casts is very real. Have you ever felt that inexplicable chill when looking out at the vastness of the sea, as if something were looking back at you from beneath the waves? When we examine the regional variations of the Umibozu legend across Japan, we see how the creature reflects the specific character of the local waters. In the Osumi region of Kyushu, the Umibozu is noted for its extreme aggression, actively seeking to capsize vessels and drag sailors into the surf. In contrast, the traditions of the Hokuriku region often portray the appearance of the Umibozu as a grim omen, a warning of an impending storm that allows wise captains to seek safety before the elements turn lethal. This duality, as both a predator and a harbinger, shows that the Umibozu is deeply woven into the cultural fabric of maritime life, serving as a personification of the sea's own dual nature as both a provider and a destroyer. Furthermore, the Buddhist connotations of the name Bozu add a layer of spiritual depth to the mystery. There is a persistent belief that the Umibozu is a manifestation of the Umi-Nyudo, or the spirits of those who have perished at sea without proper rites. In this view, the creature is not a biological entity, but a massive, shifting collective of the souls of the drowned, seeking to bring others into their fold. The smooth, hairless head is a reflection of the shaven heads of monks, perhaps representing a twisted form of penance or a final, silent prayer from the abyss. The sea is the world's largest graveyard, and it is not difficult to imagine that the weight of all that lost life could coalesce into something tangible, a dark monument of memory that rises to haunt the living. If the Umibozu is indeed a collection of lost souls, then the terror it inspires is not just fear of death, but fear of being forgotten in the cold, crushing dark. The search for the truth took an even more enigmatic turn with a recent discovery by a deep-sea submersible. At a depth of over 2,000 meters, cameras captured what appeared to be a massive stone structure partially buried in the silt of the ocean floor. To the observers, the shape was unmistakable. It bore the features of a colossal human face, staring upward through the miles of water toward the surface. The symmetry and detail were far too precise to be the result of natural geological processes. This has led to the radical hypothesis that the Umibozu may not be a living creature at all, but an ancient piece of technology, a sentinel, or a monitoring device left behind by a civilization that preceded our own, or perhaps one that originated from beyond our stars. If such a device were programmed to monitor the health of the oceans, it might rise to the surface to inspect vessels that it perceives as a threat or a significant presence. The eyes that sailors see could be sensors, and the ladle ritual could be a distorted memory of some ancient form of data exchange, or a warning to stay away from certain protected zones. This theory, while speculative, aligns with the way the Umibozu seems to appear specifically. When humans are most active or most intrusive in the marine environment, it suggests that the ocean is not just a body of water, but a managed system, and that we are being watched by guardians whose scale and purpose are beyond our current understanding. We are merely skimming the surface of a world that is far more complex and perhaps far more occupied than we have ever dared to imagine. The ocean remains the ultimate frontier, a realm as vast and mysterious as the cosmos itself. What we call the Umibozu might be a biological marvel, a psychological projection, a spiritual manifestation, or an ancient sentinel. It might even be a leak from another dimension, a shadow of a world where the laws of physics are written in a different language, manifesting in the unique, high-pressure environment of our deep trenches. To reach a definitive conclusion is impossible with our current level of knowledge, but the data continues to mount. Every year, more ships disappear without explanation, more sonar anomalies are recorded, and more sailors return to port, with eyes that have seen something they can never truly describe. The Umibozu appears most often when we are at our most arrogant, when we believe we have mastered the waves and tamed the wild. It rises to remind us of our fragility, a silent teacher from the dark that demands our respect and our awe. It is the embodiment of the unknown, the X in the equation of our existence that can never be solved. The next time you find yourself on a ship at night or standing on a lonely beach looking out at the black horizon, pay close attention to the water. If you see a shape that shouldn't be there, a darkness that is darker than the night, remember that you are a guest in a world that belongs to something else. Do not look away, for in that moment of recognition, you are witnessing the true, unvarnished face of the earth. Now, what do you make of the mystery of the Umibozu, the titan lurking in the deep? Is it a relic of a forgotten past, a biological anomaly, or something even more profound? To dismiss it as mere superstition is to ignore the wealth of evidence and the chilling consistency of those who have faced the shadow and survived. Science may one day provide an answer, but until then, the darkness of the ocean remains a sanctuary for the unexplained. And perhaps that is how it should be. There are some things in this world that are more beautiful and more powerful when they remain in the shadows. If you have ever had a strange encounter at sea or felt an unexplainable presence near the water, please share your experience in the comments section below. Your story could be the piece of the puzzle that finally reveals the truth. If you found this exploration of the deep sea's greatest mystery compelling, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. We will continue to dive into the abyss and uncover the secrets that the world has tried to hide. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next journey into the unknown.